Hey everybody, welcome back to the Infield Report. My name is Isaac alongside my brother Tyler.
Hello.
We're here just a couple days after Homestead, and we had a full weekend with all three series, the Trucks on Friday, the Xfinity Series on Saturday, and the Cup Series on Sunday. We had several guys jump back down to the Truck Series to see if they could get a couple extra laps, see if they could potentially get a win, and we had Kyle Larson trying to do all three. Well, he did all three series. Spoiler alert, he did. But he was trying to see if he could get a clean sweep of the weekend. And he unfortunately did not win any of the stages. The stages went to Corey Heim. And Corey Heim had an electrically fast truck all night long. And the pun is kind of sort of not intended, electrically fast truck, but it came down to towards the end, and Corey Heim was having some electrical issues with his truck, and that unfortunately caused him to lose the race. I know he was leading at one point, or he was getting close to the lead, and then ended up having some electrical issues and ended up falling back, and Larson did have some issues as well. He admitted he didn't have the fastest truck all night. I believe it was with just over 40 laps to go. He ended up spinning himself out. He got loose under lane rigs, I believe, and just got loose, spun himself out. Thought his night was over. I know a lot of us, myself included, thought his night was over, but he did what he does. He does Kyle Larson things, and cautions worked in his favor. Everything worked in his favor. Unfortunately for Corey Heim, again, electrical issues for him caused him to fall back. I believe it was down the front stretch several times his truck just shut off, and I don't know if they ever figured out what the gremlin was, whether it was an ECU thing or whether it was a battery thing or what it was, but they had some issues, caused Kyle Larson to be able to come back, win the race, and get off to a great start for the weekend for him. I know it was a different set of circumstances for a lot of the drivers. Again, you had several Cup guys coming back down. Ross Chastain actually got the Xfinity fastest lap, which doesn't earn him a point since he's not a full-time driver, but that did take away from a driver that potentially could have earned that might need that later down the road, later in the season. But again, Chastain had that fastest lap, and Kyle Larson coming in to the Truck Series and stealing himself a win, which is always something that these truck regulars hope doesn't happen, but unfortunately, those sorts of things do happen. But Larson wanted to try to parlay that into back-to-back wins when he was going for the Xfinity Series win the next day on Saturday. Unfortunately, he didn't win Stage 1. That went to Sammy Smith in the 8 car for Junior Motorsports. By the way, great looking car. I love that stylized 8 that's back. It was in a deep red. I love that. I know for me personally, that stylized 8 brings back a lot of memories. Some of my early recollections of watching NASCAR clips or NASCAR races was I could see that 8. I know just seeing it back, like I saw it at Rockingham at the test back in February, and seeing that car on track again, that number 8 on track again, just brings back so much joy. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that 8 finally being back?
It looks good. It feels good. Hopefully to see it in the Cup Series next year or in the near future. But it's really nice to see again.
Oh, yeah. And, again, that potential Cup return for the 8 car would be great. I know Allgaier ran that number 40 in the 500, but anything can happen. They can bring that 8 back and just say, hey, looks good. We could run it again. But Allgaier had himself a heck of a weekend. Great success at Homestead. Got himself a win. Got himself the Xfinity fastest lap in the race. That gives him another point that will help him jump up in the points a little bit. I know it's a little early to talk about points, but that does help. And like I said, Allgaier was actually the beneficiary of cautions this week. He wasn't the victim of cautions, which is good. That team has something to build on, and they are, again, it's early in the season, so like I wouldn't call them championship favorites per se, but they're definitely on the right course. And knowing that Homestead is the elimination race going to the championship 4, if you can run there well now, just make sure these teams are making sure that they take their notes, they take what they can from this race and make sure that they move on and improve on what they need to for the fall, and hopefully it works for them. But like I said, Allgaier getting the win. Larson unfortunately couldn't do the back-to-back, which eliminated his chance at the sweep. I think Kyle Busch is the only one to do the sweep of the weekend. He did it twice, and I believe it was at Bristol both times, once in 2010, I think it was, and then 2017. But that was the 2 and only times, I guess, a driver's ever done that. But Larson was hoping to take that and have his little footnote in history. Unfortunately, it didn't happen. I know Larson had some words for Austin Hill after the race, not to him, but just about him on that final restart. If you didn't see it, Kyle Larson was leading his lane, and he just couldn't get his tires going because he got pushed from the back, and he said his back end was up in the air, and he can't drive if he's getting his butt pushed up. So like, there's not much you can do with that. But unfortunately, circumstances are what they are. But Kyle Larson didn't get the win, but he finished 4th, and he got himself a stage win. So I mean, that, and he had a lot of laps led. Like I said, he had a really dominant car as well, but unfortunately just couldn't close it out. And got to go back to Corey Heim. He did have a shot in the Xfinity Series as well, and for some reason, I don't know exactly what it was either, but he also had electrical issues. Different team. Yes, it was a Toyota affiliated team, but still don't know what happened with that either. Another electrical gremlin took them out. I think he said in that one, it was just kind of sort of the same thing. It was a weirdly familiar feeling. I don't know if what the issues were, but still not great for him. Kind of a weird set of circumstances that it was 2 electrical incidents, same driver, same weekend, just overall weird situation, but hopefully they get that figured out. But like I said, great win for Allgaier, great momentum for them to build on, and great for Sammy Smith too, with a great stage win for them as well. And like I said, I keep talking about him, but that Harrison Burton kid, he's jumped back down to the Xfinity Series, got himself a full-time ride with AM Racing in the 25. Finished just outside of the top 10 in the 11th position, but just having himself a great year so far. Daniel Dye, another rookie, finished 9th. Great race for him as well. And then it looks like another colleague driver, Josh Williams, in the 11. He might be on the up and up. I don't think he qualified his car, but still dealing with pneumonia that he's been dealing with for the last couple weeks. But he did end up running the full race. He didn't last weekend, but he ran the full race this weekend. Hopefully he's feeling much better for this upcoming weekend at Martinsville. But I mean, it's tough to see that. Hopefully he gets better. But yeah, great weekend of racing for the first 2 series. And then, we had Sunday. Sunday was a great day for racing. I know there were a lot of favorites that love to ride that wall. Reddick was one of the first ones to do it. Larson is always really good at running that high line as well. And the joke is that the right side of his Homestead car always comes back to the shop with a massive Homestead stripe. We've heard about that Darlington stripe, but Kyle Larson and Homestead, man, like there's no getting around it. He's gonna rub that thing against the wall so much. Clint Boyer made the joke during the broadcast that it's been at least 17 or 18 times that he hit the wall, but it seemed like every 10 laps or so he was hitting the wall. But yeah, he was close to winning both stages, didn't get a stage win, but Larson did end up getting the overall race win late. Won it over teammate Alex Bowman. Again, he didn't necessarily have the fastest car all day. He was just in the right position at the right time, and then they made some adjustments late in the race. Ended up getting that thing wicked fast. He was able to run that line that he wanted to. I personally think two of the fastest cars on the day were Ryan Blaney and Denny Hamlin. But Ryan Blaney, I don't know what the heck happened. That was one of the biggest engine blowups I've seen in a while as far as the amount of smoke. But I mean, at least he got a stage win, so he got some stage points that will carry over. He's got a playoff point that will carry up as well. Denny Hamlin got himself a stage win with his brand new sponsor, Progressive. I think they're on for 18 races this year. So good look for them. Bubba Wallace ended up getting the Xfinity fastest lap, so that was a good thing for him. I know he actually was very positive about the weekend. I know it wasn't the finish that he wanted, but there was a great sense of maturity about him that I've noticed over the first couple races of the season, where now that he's a dad, he's not so negative and not so hard on himself. Like, I know there's that competitive, like, I want to be better, like, I know I could be better. And he's had it in the past where, like, even with like a top 5 finish, we've seen him where he's like super hard on himself, but now I think it's all about him having fun. And I think there's a perspective change for him now, which is really, really awesome to see as a fan, where he's not this negative guy anymore. Like, yeah, he'll have his moments when he's rightfully pissed, but like, he's not this angry guy in the garage anymore, which is good. And I mean, he had a really solid day as well. He had nothing to be ashamed of. Like I said, he was running on the top all day. Didn't get stage points in stage 1, but he ran 5th in stage 2, and then ended up finishing 3rd, like I said. So he had himself a great day. But Homestead is just one of those tracks where you have to be willing to ride that cushion, where I know we didn't get to talk about it last week because we had some technical difficulties, Tyler, but is there a way that you can explain what that cushion does on a track like that?
It's basically an air pocket that happens. It's very similar to how in bump drafting, sometimes you can see them kind of get up real close, and you kind of see it kind of stop, or the car kind of goes forward. And it's like, why didn't they touch? What happened? It's a bubble of air that there's so much pressure that builds, and it creates, like I said, that bubble where, in the best terms I can explain it, because I'm no astrophenomenist, basically the pressure coming off the rear car hits the different pressure on the front car and pushes them along. Similarly, there's a pocket of air that happens through negative air pressure. The closer they get to that wall, it's almost like they can drive it in so deep and slide up to the wall and kind of keep it there. And there's just enough pressure to kind of, it's almost kind of like squeezing a balloon that's not quite blown up. You kind of squeeze it a little, kind of get your hands real close. And there's a point to where you can kind of hold your hands together. And it's like, wow, this is really, really cool. But if you do that a little too quickly, it'll pop. Same thing with drafting, and then same thing with riding the cushion, riding the wall. That's Miami, Homestead-Miami, Darlington, and at these 1.5 miles, like Kansas, Michigan, Las Vegas, like week prior is going to have that cushion. And that's everywhere, but usually when you're carrying a lot of speed, you can create that pocket of air, that negative air pressure to get that cushion.
Yeah, and like I think part of the reason that I feel like Larson runs that so well is he's got that background to where that dirt background where it's finding grip wherever, like he was able to ride that cushion very, very well, and he was able to find grip in places that not everybody else was able to, whether it be up on that cushion or I know it was in the Xfinity race, if we jump back a little bit, he was actually coming off like super low off of turn 4. And there was, I know on that Xfinity broadcast, they were talking, they said, it's so unorthodox for him to come off the corner, so low in 4, but he was able to find the grip. But like being able to ride that cushion, him and Reddick, and there's like only like 2 or 3 other guys that can run that wall consistently. Now everybody's migrated up. They've had to improve their skill because Larson and Reddick and I know Bubba's gotten there now. He doesn't like to run up there, but he does. Bowman did it as well. There's something about, I don't know if it's just the dirt guys that know how to do it very well, but they run it so dang well that, I mean, you have to, like, they're literally inches apart from that wall. So you have to be able to manage that little air cushion and know how much, because they joke and they say, well, once you find the wall, you go, okay, well, that, I know where the side of my car is now, and I know how close I can get. I think Kyle Busch joked about that, but, it's crazy to see how close those guys get, and like I said, they're literally inches apart from that wall. It's crazy, but it was a lot of fun to watch. Now, the actual racing at times was not great. There were, based on the pit cycles and whatnot, you had leads of 8, 9, 10 seconds, which was very uneventful, but that went for both the Cup and the Xfinity Series. But I know a lot of people are clamoring for the championship to go back to Homestead-Miami. I know, who was it? I think Jeff Gluck made a comment. He made a post and he said, it may not have been him. It may have been, I don't remember. Or maybe it was Jordan Bianchi. In my brain, when I look at social media, I kind of combine the two for some, like, for me, they're just intertwined. But one of the two said something to the effect of, Homestead-Miami wants a championship. The fans need to turn out for it. And I guess that's all the more that needs to be said about it. But, like, I feel like the racing at times can be great, like what we saw with Reddick last year. There are moments throughout the race that are great, but sometimes it just, like, I don't know if it was just me, but there were points throughout the race where I just kind of got bored. I mean, is that bad to say at like watching a NASCAR race where you're watching a 3-hour race and then, there are points where you just kind of zone out because the leader's out 12 seconds or 13 seconds based off of pit stops, and then you're watching them and the laps tick by and you just kind of sit there and you're like, well, nobody's going to catch him. Like, it is what it is. But
that's just the nature of it. That's just the nature of it. NASCAR racing is more or less an endurance sport. There's gonna be races where, oh no, he won by a full lap, whoop-de-doo. Other times is, oh my God, it's so close you can't even put a piece of paper, between the front bumpers to see who won. You're gonna have those extremes. They're trying to make it, shorter. What is it called? They're trying to make the fans engaged, and okay, here's a break. The attention span is very limited, they think. But
well, yeah,
I am a fan of endurance racing. I will watch a 24-hour race just to watch it on TV. But at the same time,
Yeah.
I do love a good 1 hour race at the local dirt track. Sometimes it's nice to have that variance. NASCAR racing is, lack of a better terms, an endurance sport. You
It
are
is.
going to have the variance of someone's going to lead all 312 laps, or where the hell did this guy come from? He only led the last lap. Why did he win?
A
There's
la
going to be
Bell.
those. Yes, you're going. Like I said, you're going to have those extremes. You do have to take those. I think
Yeah.
we said somewhere along the lines. I forgot what week we were talking about it. When you have nothing but crazy finishes every single week, and they're close every single week, they lose their special spark. They lose their aura of, oh my God, that was a special moment. It was a once in a lifetime kind of opportunity. Now it's every week.
Yeah.
I'm not
I
going to go
mean,
back on my tirade of the stage racing and how this is played out, but Isaac will link somewhere, look around. He'll probably link the episode I talked about it, but
yeah. But like,
there is change on the horizons. We'll dive more into that, August, September, October, if and when NASCAR says, here's the changes or here's the new format in 2027 or whatnot.
yeah. But like I said, I mean, I know Homestead has produced some great racing over the years, but again, this one was, and I'm going to say this as a spoiled NASCAR fan, where it was great to see all of the incredible finishes that we've had in 2025 so far. But you're right. Kind of take a step back and go, in the grand scheme of things, yes, it might have been a boring race, but it was a great NASCAR race overall. I mean, we had great passing throughout the entirety of the race. There was a lot of great battles all over the track. There was, unfortunate incidents for, some mechanical failures and electrical failures, but like overall, it was, in the grand scheme of things, not a bad race. It was just there were moments that got stale. It's not like, and I'm gonna kind of point out Richmond here, but like there are some Richmond races in the past that have been super boring, where you just kind of sit there and you're like, all right, well we're 40 laps into an 80 lap stage, but it feels like it's been about 200 laps now, and there's nothing happening. But this track I know can create great racing, and I know this upcoming week is going to be great racing as well at Martinsville. It's a great half-mile track. I'm actually going to be there at that race, which is going to be fun. I know I'm not going to see anything crazy like the Hail Melon. That will never happen again, but there is potential. It's a short track. There's a lot of beating and banging that can go on. Just like when I was at Bowman Gray, same sort of deal. I know we've got Bristol in a couple weeks, another great short track as well. But looking forward to this week, I mean, we've got, like I said, Martinsville is one of the best tracks, I think, on the schedules. It's just, the short track guys love it because there's so much beating and banging, but like these cars are so much tougher than what they used to be. And I know we heard this on the broadcast this week between all three series. I know if there was an incident, if a guy got in the wall or whatever, they would always compare like the Cup cars now are these composite bodies. They're a lot rough, or they're a lot stiffer, but they take a lot of that beating and banging much more than what the old steel body cars did. If you had any sort of damage to your fender, that was going to come in, metal's going to cut your tire's going to go down. Day is basically over, especially on a short track like Martinsville, where you got pit road that's like 3/4 of the track long. So you go 2 laps down if you've got to pit green flags, pit and do a green flag stop. But I mean, it's great to see these composite bodies now where at these style of tracks, you can beat and bang. You can put your bumper to somebody and move them out of the way if you really want to. And it makes for great entertainment and great racing. And like, I know I said, going back to this week, it wasn't as entertaining, but this week I know should be fun. And, like I said, it's Martinsville. It's one of the iconic tracks. It's one of the oldest tracks on the circuit. like I said, half-mile short track. I can't wait to be there for the first time. I know there will definitely be images next episode from my time at the track for sure. But yeah, it's going to be a great time. I can't wait for it, honestly. Just to have a good time and enjoy the day and enjoy the racing. And, I won't be there obviously for the trucks or Xfinity, but those races I'm looking forward to as well. Because in those races, like, there is no solid, I'll say, front runner, because it's really all about speed when you come to the track, and it's all about track position. So, you can't really I don't know that there really is strategy. Like, there's pit strategy, but I think for tire strategy is going to come into play, because I believe that they're not doing an option tire. I believe it might be the same as last year, if I remember what Bob Pocker said correctly. I believe he said they're not actually planning on doing another option tire-like thing this year. I believe that the teams just want, they want the softer tire, or they want something, to go off of and not have to do this whole option thing. But, like, I think tire strategy is going to be important. Whether you take 2 or 4 tires in all 3 series this weekend is going to be really crucial, because, the amount of time you spend on pit road at, let's say, like a 2.5 mile Daytona, you could lose, 12, 13 spots on pit road, yes, but you can very easily, I'll say easily with massive quotations, make that up in the draft. If you get in the right lane and plow forward, you could make up those spots easy. Or if you're at, like, where we were just at Homestead, you could end up, riding the wall. I won't say it's, again, easy, but it's, if you are able to find grip where others aren't, yes, you may lose spots on pit road, but you can make it up a little bit easier, I will say, than at a short track where there's not so much room to go. So you've either got to put your bumper to somebody, or you've got the speed in the car. But it's going to be very, very fun to see. I don't know what your thoughts are on Martinsville as far as the track or anything like that. I don't know if you've got anything to add, Tyler.
Yeah, Martinsville can sometimes be it'll seem like they're on rails, train track, no one really moves. So yeah, you do have to put the bumper to them. You do have to think, should I pit, a lot earlier than normal or a lot later than normal? And if there is something messed up on pit road, like you said, mile and a half, 2, you might lose a couple positions or maybe 1 lap. But at Martinsville, especially Martinsville, where the pit lane is pretty much 3/4 around the track, you're going to lose 3, 4, 5 laps. And that's just going to put you out of the race. You're done. There's almost no recovering from it. Unless you're Michael McDowell at Atlanta, I don't think you're going to get that many lucky dogs.
No. Depending on how aggressive these drivers decide to be, and depending on who gets the hottest of heads, or the tempers flare, I guess. I know we've got one driver that's already ticked off probably about 1/4 of the field, or maybe 1/3 of the field, in Carson Hocevar, just the way he's raced this season. I'll be keeping an eye on him just to see how aggressive he plans on being this weekend, whether he, puts the bumper to something, like how aggressive he is, I guess, is going to be my big question, or whether he decides to play it safe and, like, not piss anybody else off, because you've still got just under 20 races to go on the year, buddy. So it's a tough balance to be aggressive this early, try to get yourself some points, stage points, whatever the case may be, but still not piss anybody off in a way that, if it comes down to, the last race, like these these race car drivers, they don't forget anything. So you'll have guys like, you don't want it to be the last race of the season, and you're like, okay, well, you're 2 points out, and the guy that you ticked off just aero blocks you completely, or does something to screw up your day, and you miss it by that much because somebody remembers something you did at Bristol back in late March, early April. Like, it's the tough thing. But at the end of the day, I think these guys, they're tough race car drivers. Like, they do what they've got to do to get a win or gain positions, and I'm very interested to see what this weekend brings, especially since we're kind of getting into the heart of the season now. Well, and I don't want to say the heart of the season, but like, we're starting to get into the groove of things, and have a consistent week to week thing now where these teams are finding their rhythm, they're finding their groove a little bit, and drivers are starting to get a little bit more antsy. I know some are probably looking to rebound from a rough start. I know Joey Logano's had a rough start. Ty Gibbs has had a rough start. But then you've got drivers that are kind of surprises, like Ty Dillon, I know, is a big one. That's a surprise for many people this year, myself included. I actually saw something on the NASCAR subreddit where somebody said that Ty Dillon is impressing him because, like, not that Colleague is a backmarker team, but they aren't quite what they were several years ago when the next gen car came out, where they were that surprise underdog team. But they're really starting to improve themselves. And Ty Dillon, and I'm going to put this out there, Ty Dillon not being like his brother Austin, who causes a lot of wrecks or is in the middle of them, but Ty Dillon actually like driving really, really well. He's impressed me quite a bit this year with what he's been doing, and I want to see him continue to do well. Again, AJ Allmendinger finished really well this past week as well. Not a short track guy by nature, but I would love to see what he does as well. But again, we're coming into a short track, so like, I'm interested to see how aggressive Josh Berry is going to be now that he's got himself a race win. I know Ryan Preece, another one. He's had a really good start to the year as well, and I know he's probably itching for a win as well. He's had a top 10 finish this past weekend. That RFK team, they've had mixed results, but I know that there's a lot of potential there. I would love to see them continue to improve. With Brad, I know he hasn't had the best results, but knowing that he can improve and what that team is capable of, I think they're going to be just fine. But like, these short track guys, for sure, I'm definitely excited to see. But yeah, it's going to be a fun week. Like I said, I'll be at the track this weekend. I'll be looking forward to it. And like I said, there's going to be a bunch of pictures this week, this upcoming week, that'll be scrolling through the background. We did have some a choice, I guess, this weekend or this week for this episode. We were not going to be doing the iRacing bit for the week, and Tyler, did you want to explain why on that one?
So iRacing is going through some major changes, which are they're good wave of changes. 2 weeks, there have been a lot of changes, especially to the tires for all series. And last week, I noticed a change. I noticed a difference, and I was able to, get into it and such. And I don't know what they did, because I was off of it for a couple days, and the tires are horrible right now. I tried a couple of different series at different tracks, took the same car to a different track, see what the matter with it was. And it's the NASCAR Cup car right now that it sucks massively. I did Homestead last week to get a little bit of practice, and I was like within 1 second or two of last year's qualifying times, which is average for me. I'm always going to be off the pace. And then this week, same technique, same driving, same weather, everything. It washes up the track or it spins out. I can't even get heat in the tires. I tried a 20-lap run. I was about 5-6 seconds off the pace. I couldn't do anything. So instead of being frustrated and all that stuff, it's just going to be a blank screen. Hopefully Isaac can find some pictures. If not, we'll treat you guys next week to something.
Oh yeah, for sure. And like we'll try to see like if it's solely the Cup car that's the issue, we'll see if we can get like an Xfinity car or a truck. It isn't going to be obviously the Cup car, which is the mainstay for everything, but we're going to try to see if we can get, some sort of racing footage for you guys to get you guys a feel for the next track, because that's mainly the biggest sticking point of this show is we want to show you what these tracks look like, because you can't always get, a feel for it. So this is the closest that we can get without actually being in a car on the track, but we want to try to still get you a feel for it. So we're going to try to get that for you guys next week somehow, any way we can. And before I forget, for this week, I almost forgot to mention, we have a returning Cup driver coming back, and I can't believe I forgot. Casey Mears is coming back for a surprise. Well, not a surprise, but coming back for a start, for his first start, and I believe it's 5 or 6 years. I think it's 6 years since his last Cup Series start. So, I don't want to put too much pressure on him. We put a little too much on Catherine Legg when she came in, but I will say anything under, and this is just my personal thing, anything under, or if it's 10 laps down or less, I will consider a success, because Martinsville is that short track, so it is very, very difficult to stay on the lead lap, whether you're a veteran or not. But again, it's going to be tough, but I would say anything 10 laps down or less, I would say is a success. But again, the fact that he's running regardless is going to be fun to see. It's a name I haven't seen in a while, guy I haven't seen run in a while. It should be pretty fun. But anything else you got to add, Tyler?
Nope. Enjoy the race this weekend, and hopefully we can make it up to you guys somehow. Maybe get you extra videos, or we'll do something for you.
Absolutely. But hopefully you guys enjoyed this. Again, apologies for no racing content this week, but we will, again, try to get you something special for next week. I'll try to see if, I'll possibly upload some of the footage from the track this weekend. Might compile it into something. We'll see how it goes, but we'll try to treat you guys, especially for the upcoming week for sure, as far as a preview goes, because we've got Martinsville and then we've got Darlington the week after that. And I do plan on being at both of those races. I do have tickets for Martinsville, and I'm working on getting the Darlington tickets, so hopefully I'll be there. But like I said, we'll try to get something special for you guys for next week's episode. But in the meantime, thank you guys for tuning in for this one. I hope you guys did enjoy. Please leave a like, comment, subscribe, all the good stuff. Let us know your thoughts down below. If you've got a race pick winner for this upcoming week in any of the series, let us know your favorite driver. Just let us know anything. If you're a fan, new fan, old fan, just let us know. We'd love to hear from you. But other than that, thank you guys for watching, and we'll catch you guys next week.